three friends had gone to explore the jungle. They thought it would just be a small adventure. A little fun, a little exploration, and then back home. But in the middle of the jungle, they saw a huge old water tank, so tall that the entire jungle could be seen from the top. Out of curiosity, they climbed onto that tank. But as soon as they reached the top, suddenly a loud noise came from below, and the old rusted iron ladder they had climbed broke and fell down. Now they were trapped hundreds of feet high. Dense jungle below, silence all around, no help, no way out, and they had absolutely no idea that this captivity was not going to last a few hours, but 5 long years. If you want to see what happened next to those three friends, how they survived there for 5 years, and whether they were finally able to get out alive or not, then definitely watch the video till the end. And for more dangerous survival stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. This story begins on a completely normal day, when these three friends, tired of the city crowd and the same routine life every day, planned to experience something different. They always watched adventure videos, exploring abandoned places, roaming through jungles, discovering new places. They loved all of it. And because of that, they decided that this time they would go deep into that dense jungle far away from the city, about which people said that things abandoned years ago still existed there today. Some people said there were old military structures there. Some said there were abandoned factories there. But no one knew the complete truth. Early in the morning, the three of them left towards the jungle with their bikes and necessary saman. In the beginning, everything was completely normal. The roads were clear, the weather was nice, and they kept laughing and talking the whole way. They had absolutely no idea that this trip was going to become the biggest nightmare of their lives. As they kept going deeper into the jungle, the paths became narrower and more deserted. The trees became so dense that even sunlight could barely reach the ground. All around, there was only greenery, cold wind, and a strange silence. At first, they liked that silence. It felt peaceful. But slowly, that same silence started feeling uncomfortable. Because there was no human there, no sound, just the jungle. They kept roaming inside the jungle for hours, sometimes making videos, sometimes taking pictures, sometimes changing paths. And during this, suddenly their eyes fell on something huge in the distance. At first, they thought it might be a tower, but when they got a little closer, they stopped, because in front of them stood a giant old water tank. That tank was so tall that it rose even above the trees. Made of iron, completely rusted, broken at many places, and it looked as if no human had even touched it for years. Grass had grown around it, old broken pipelines were lying below, and the whole atmosphere felt extremely strange. But more than fear, they felt excitement inside them. One of them jokingly said, "Bro, the whole jungle will be visible from the top." The second immediately said, "Come on, let's go up." And that very decision was about to change their lives. They looked at the old iron ladder attached to the side of the tank. The ladder definitely looked weak, but it was still attached. Slowly, they started climbing up. In the beginning, they were enjoying it. The jungle below started looking small. The wind felt stronger, and as they kept climbing higher, their excitement kept increasing. After quite a while, they finally reached the top of the tank. As soon as they reached the top, they kept looking around for a few seconds. The entire jungle was visible from there. In every direction, there were only trees, endless greenery, and in the middle of it, they sat hundreds of feet high. They started talking there, made videos, joked around. But then suddenly, a loud sound came from below. Ciara K. All three of them were startled. They immediately looked down, and at that very moment, the color drained from their faces. The iron ladder through which they had climbed up had completely broken and fallen down. Some parts were hanging in the air, the rest were lying on the ground below. Now between them and the ground, there was only a dangerous height of hundreds of feet. For a few seconds, no one could even speak. They could not understand what had just happened. Then one of them panicked and tried to climb down. But there was nothing left to climb down with anymore. They were completely trapped. Dense jungle below, deserted area all around, no network, no human being, and no way to ask for help. At first they thought maybe someone would find them, maybe someone would come there. But slowly evening started approaching, the sun started setting, and with it, the fear inside them started growing. The wind was blowing very fast on top of the tank. The iron surface had become cold. The jungle below started disappearing into darkness, and then slowly sounds started coming from the jungle. The rustling of leaves, distant animal noises, and growls that for the first time made them realize how dangerous a place they were trapped in. Now this was no longer an adventure. Now this was going to become survival. The first night somehow passed, but by morning, they had realized that this situation was not going to end so quickly. In the beginning, they still had hope that maybe someone searching for them would somehow reach there. But as the hours passed, that hope started weakening. All around below, there was only dense jungle. No road was visible, no human being, no sound, just endless trees and silence. There was very little space on top of the water tank, rusted iron all around. A little empty space in the middle, and open sky above. During the day, the sunlight there became so intense that the iron surface heated up and started burning. And at night, that same iron became cold like ice. They somehow spent the first 2 days without eating or drinking anything. The little snacks and water they had finished very quickly. By the third day, their conditions started worsening. Thirst had become the biggest danger. Their throats started drying up, lips cracked, and even speaking started hurting. One of them tried looking inside the tank, and at that moment, they saw their first hope. The tank was not completely empty. Deep below, there was a little dirty, stagnant water present, but that water could not reach their hands at all. For many hours, they tried to somehow lower something down. Tied clones together, connected bag straps, but nothing worked. Then one of them got an idea. They joined their t-shirts and clothes together to make something like a long rope. They tied a bottle at the end, and with great difficulty tried to lower it down. Many times the bottle fell, many times the rope broke, but finally they managed to pull a little water up. That water was not clean. It smelled of rust. It had dirt in it, but at that moment for them, that was life itself. They drank it slowly, as if every drop was no less than a treasure. But survival was not possible with just water. Hunger was also breaking them now. In the beginning, their stomachs hurt. Then slowly the pain reduced, because their bodies had started weakening. Now they sat silently for hours, just kept staring at the jungle below. Slowly they realized that if they wanted to stay alive for a long time, they would have to find a way to live on top of the tank itself. From here began their real survival. They started using the old iron lying on top of the tank, broken pipes, and the mesh around them. By bending some parts, they made a small platform so that they could sit comfortably, because continuously sitting on iron had started scraping their bodies. Then they decided to build a temporary hut on top, using their bags, clothes, plastic sheets, and old pieces lying on the tank. They prepared a small cover. In the beginning, it was extremely weak. It used to shake as soon as the wind blew, but still it gave them some relief from sunlight and rain. Slowly that hut became their home. Whenever it rained, they would go crazy with happiness. They spread clothes to collect water, stored rainwater in broken containers, and then carefully saved it, because they did not know when the next rain would come. They started making a routine on top of the tank. Waking up in the morning, checking water, looking at the jungle below, trying to find help, and keeping themselves busy throughout the day. Because they had understood that if they sat idle, their minds would destroy them.